Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're sewing the straight fit joggers, and I am super excited about these, so let's get to it. Alright, the first thing we're gonna do is just make sure, first of all, you mark your pockets and you mark that little star symbol on there so you know which ones are your bottoms, so you don't end up accidentally sewing them upside down. So that's kind of a little helpful guide right there. And then we're gonna grab our bottoms, and this is my front bottom piece. And I'm gonna place my pocket liner right on top of that slanted edge that will line up just correctly with that side, right sides together. And then I'm gonna sew that on right there, and I'm gonna do that for both. Once that's sewn, you open up your pocket, and we're gonna steam our seam allowance towards the pocket, the liner, and then we're gonna understitch. Now what it means by understitching, it means that we're going to stitch this seam allowance to the pocket. So we're gonna go and like top stitch, but make sure that seam allowance is on the side of the pocket. So then when you fold it down, it will be top stitched down. All right, now we open our pocket liner and we place our pocket bag right on top of it. You see how these should match now. So that way you know which one's the right side and which one's the wrong side. And we're going to pin and sew the outer edges. So that outer and right here. So down and over. We're gonna do that for both. All right, so now, once these have been turned around, if you want, you can go ahead and top stitch that area right there. You don't have to if you don't want to, because you understitched, so it's up to you if you want to go ahead and top stitch that area. Just trying to get it all straight. Now, you can go ahead and baste the side and the top of the pocket so it doesn't come off. And then after you do that, you're gonna grab your back leg, and you gotta grab the one that's going to fit, the mirrored piece. So see how this opening, the crotch area is on that side, so that's not it. So it's gonna be this one. And we're gonna match up the side seam, pin and clip, all the way down the side. And then also, I'm gonna go ahead and do the inseam as well. And you're looking at me and you're saying, you did not baste. No, I didn't. I am bad. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm just kidding. If you think you can do it without basting, it's up to you, but just know that sometimes that fabric right there can like go, and then your pocket will be like, so that's why it is always recommended to baste. Once we sew the outer edge, then we're gonna sew the inner leg. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pin both at the same time, but if you don't feel comfortable pinning both at the same time, don't worry about it. Don't do them both at the same time. You can do them one at a time, but I just like to go ahead and get them both done at the same time. So that's what I like to do. And I'm gonna do the same for the other leg. All right, now we're gonna grab one pant leg and turn it right side out and leave the other inside out. And we're gonna shove one pant leg inside the other. And we're going to match up the crotch seams right sides together, right there at that seam. And pin. And then we're gonna go up one side together. And now they should match up together because the back seam should match up, which is the longer seam, and then the front seams should also match up. And then we go up the other side and sew that together. So we're gonna sew that whole crotch seam together to create your pants. Then we're gonna move on to our waistband. Now, if you are doing the shorts version, right here is where after you sew this crotch seam, you can go ahead and hem your legs. But if you're doing the pants version, we're gonna add the cuffs. So let's go sew this up. All right, once that is done, your pants are basically put together. Now we're gonna do our cuffs by grabbing our cuff pieces that we cut out and folded them right sides together, and we're gonna sew that short raw edge right there on both. All right, so I'm going to do the elastic waistband. I'm gonna grab the waistband and put it right sides together at that short raw edge as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that up at the same time that I'm sewing my cuffs. That way they're both prepared for the next step. All right, for the cuffs, we're going to fold it, grab that cuff, fold it wrong sides together now, and pin right there at that seam allowance. And then fold the other side, as like all of it, the other side. Of course you're gonna fold the other side. And then we can half it, so from one end to the other. That is my half. Usually I do a little notch, but I have no idea. Oh, 1 second. I have my scissors right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go from one side to the other, and I'm just gonna mark it with a little notch is what I like to do. That way if my pin comes off for some reason, I still know where it's at. I'm gonna grab my pant leg, and you know it already has the two sides because we sewed them the two sides together, and I'm gonna fit my cuff in there. I like to put that seam to be on the inner part of the leg, so I look to see where my inner part is, and that seam is where I want my seam to be. I don't know. Probably is no big deal to anybody else, but I'm just like, you know, every once in a while, pay attention to details. Very little amount of times, if you've watched any other of my videos. And I'm gonna do the same for the other one, and we're gonna sew that cuff right sides together. And so I'll do that for the other one as well. And then we also are going to do the same for our waistband. Since I didn't, what do you call it? What is the word? What is the word? I didn't baste this part right here. It's like kind of giving me like I pinned it, but I pinned it to the front and the back. So now I gotta make sure that I clipped it. So I gotta make sure I clip it right. Again, do as I say, not as I do. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding. It's true. Okay, so here's the waistband area, and already it's got 4 quarters because it's got front, back, and the sides, but we're gonna do the same for our waistband. So we're gonna grab our waistband and fold it wrong sides together. I'm so used to saying right sides together because we basically do everything right sides together except for attaching bands. Though you do attach them right sides together. Folding bands. We fold bands wrong sides together. And then once we fold the bands of wrong sides together, we're going to go ahead and go to the one side. So here's my back, and we go to the front. And then we match the front and the back. Right sides together. And we go to the side, and that's my quarter point. If it would cooperate. This fabric is super soft. This is a French terry, a very soft French terry. It's from Raspberry Creek Fabrics. It is super yummy. Yummy, yum. It is super yummy. I'm sorry about that. And then we go to the other side and do the same thing. And our waistband is ready to put on. Now listen, I know y'all are like, Diana, why did you not make the drawstring? Because I want to see that. You know what I'm gonna do for you? I'm going to make a quick video. So that will be added to our YouTube channel as well. So I will add, once it comes out, a link right above where you can click and go check that out if that's what you want to do. Because I'm not gonna let you down. It's all right, I'll do it for you. Don't worry, I gotcha. And so then we're gonna match up those quarter points to my jogger waistband right sides together. You see, everything always right sides together. And then we're going to, when we sew it on, we're gonna leave a 2-inch gap to stick our elastic through. If you're like me and you end up sewing it all together, whoa, like I sometimes do, that was a police car just racing by my street, like literally racing. And I'm in a neighborhood. That was weird. Should I go check my doors? They're locked. Anyway, just kidding. Anyway, so sorry I got sidetracked there for a minute. Okay, so leave a gap, but if you're like me and sometimes forget, you can always come back and soon rip that little area right there to stick your elastic through, because I've done that before, just speaking from experience. So let's go sew that up, and we're literally almost done. These are gonna be so comfy and so cool. All right, now here where I left this gap, I'm gonna grab my elastic. I'm going to fit it right through that gap, all the way into my waistband, bringing it over to the other side. Make sure your elastic doesn't turn on you as it's going around. Once it's all the way through, like I said, make sure it's not twisted and turned. Mine kind of got twisted here, so I got to make sure I turn it just right, because I don't want it to be all twisted when I go sew it up. Make sure you take your time, that's important. All good. Now once it's all good together, make sure the other one's not turned around either. Whoop, it was all crooked. I'm using like the softer elastic, so it's not like super thick, so you gotta make sure, I gotta make sure that it's all nice and even. All right, and then I'm gonna go on my sewing machine, and with a zigzag stitch, I'm gonna sew these two together, going back and forth over it, so that it gets caught in there. It would help if my needle was threaded. There it is. I'm gonna cut this little piece, and then we're gonna fit it right in, and I'm just gonna go real quickly and on my serger again, close that gap. Just gonna close that gap right there, and then we're gonna head over. I'm gonna use my cover stitch, but you can use your zigzag stitch on your sewing machine, and we're gonna sew a line 1/2 inch away from the edge, a line all the way around, and then another 1/2 inch away from the edge, another line all the way around, to give it like that really nice waistband look. All right, friends, we are done with our joggers. How easy peasy lemon squeezy was that? That was super, super easy. Cute little waistband. I can't wait to try them on and make them for everybody else in our family. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, we will also have the tutorial on how to do the band with the drawstring on it option if you want to check that out. Check out any of the other videos that we have. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Come join us on our Facebook and Instagram so you can see what everybody else is making, and you can be inspired, and then you can inspire us with your mix. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!